Good morning. I'm Malcolm Graham Wood, and I'm here at Core Finance for my CEO interview spot. But today I have with me Graham Lyon, who's actually Executive Chairman of Sound Energy. Good morning, Graham. Welcome back. Great to see you again.
Yeah, hi Malky. It's been a while since we've spoken, so yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, you're a hard man to drag in, but you're always traveling and doing things, and the reason for that is about to become obvious. Um, Clearly, I've asked you in to talk about your recently announced deal. But before you do that, I wonder if you could just wind back a little bit. I would normally ask victims to go through the whole company and everything else, but if you could just go back, whatever it is, a couple of years to say the bit that we're talking about here in terms of the deal that you've announced has taken you a fair bit of time and effort to put together. So I wondered if you could just explain to everybody where we are in terms of Tendrara and the different bits and pieces.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is good to see you again. I must admit, it's not a couple of years, Malky. It's 4.5 years I've been looking after. I came in as the executive chairman, and we obviously took a different view on the strategy from the previous management, and focused very much on the big gas discoveries that we've got in eastern Morocco, deep by Moroccan standard for sure, not necessarily world standard. And as you well know, the Moroccans need their gas, and as events unfolded over the last few years, the Algerians have cut the gas off to Morocco. So it's even more and more important that the gas that's discovered in Morocco is used for Moroccan power. And we have two gas power stations in Morocco that were essentially empty of gas for a period of time until now the Moroccans have started importing some gas from Spain. But clearly domestic gas is a priority. So we took the story of Sound. We slashed and burned costs, as you can imagine, like everybody wants to do. Everybody still thinks we're spending too much, but we are running a public company, and we transferred the strategy to developing the Tendrara asset. And it seems a long time ago, but you remember Schlumberger was a partner with us. So Schlumberger had a different vision about the way they wanted to take their company. And so we dealt with managing their exit and took a 75% stake in the Tendrara concession. Some excellent support from our local host government through the ministry, and particularly with ONIN, our partner. And over the last years, we've taken steps to monetize in a stepwise fashion the onshore gas discovery. And they always say, isn't it, that if you want to eat an elephant, you have to have it for breakfast, you have to have it at lunch, you have to have it for dinner, you have to have it curried in the weekend, and you have to have some elephant sandwiches. So Tendrara, for a small company like Sound Energy, is a relatively big asset. So we broke it down into different phases, all parts of the concession development with the exploitation of the gas, and particularly in the pipeline into the power stations. And but we started with our micro LNG project, and yes, it hasn't gone as well as we had hoped, but it's the first in Africa for a micro LNG project, and we're actually bringing kit to site right now. The wells are being worked over right now to get some production tubing in, and we're hoping to have everything commissioned by the end of this year for gas sales next year. But the big prize, the bigger development, is the pipeline project, and getting that 120-kilometer pipeline to tie into the big trunk line that goes across from Algeria through into Morocco, using the two power stations on the way, and then ending up into Europe. That is the key development, and it's a chunky development. And so it's going to be $350 million development for a market cap of our company. That's a big tall order. But we made progress over the years. We have a very supportive local bank with Tendrara Bank, who have some debt financing lined up for us. And we have a gas sales agreement with clearly ONE want to buy the gas, and they are buying gas from other people at an expensive price. So we have a gas sales agreement. But the missing portion was, how do we fund the equity part of that project? And so for a while, and over a year, we've been talking to various players, and we were very close to closing a deal with another company. We just, between the two of us, couldn't get it over the line. And now, of course, you saw the announcement of Friday last week of what we've got as a very strong local partner in the country. And I think you'll start seeing the lid taken off of this, and we'll start motoring.
Well, that is a brilliant assessment analysis of where you've got to now, Graham. Thank you for that. That's great. So, yeah, you announced what you call the partial divestment of the Moroccan assets. Ironically, 18 minutes past 6 on a Friday night, when Morocco was shut for the weekend and the London markets were shut. Who told you that was a good thing, did they?
Yeah, not you, obviously, because you always tell me it's got to come out at 7 o'clock on a Monday morning. Look, the Moroccan markets were shut on Monday and Tuesday as well, okay, because it was the Eid. So clearly, we are dealing with a very large public company in Morocco, a very important public company with Managem. And it was critical for them to get this information out before the Eid closed.
Yeah.
Particularly, I would have liked to have done it a day or two before, but you know what it's like, dotting I's and crossing T's on sale and purchase agreements. The key thing is it's a binding agreement, and we've now got some CPs to conclude, but with Managem as our partner, I see that should be a fairly let's say perfunctory type activity. It shouldn't be too. It should be achievable quite relatively quickly.
Brilliant. Okay, so run us through the details. So we don't know much. Well, most people don't know much about Managem, the mining company, I thought, and you've received a decent chunk of money and various bits and pieces in carry and cash and wells and everything else. Let's talk us through it. It's a good deal. Tell us all about it.
Oh, yeah. So Managem, international mining company, headquartered in Morocco, in Casablanca, listed on the stock exchange, 5,000 people. I have a large research center out in Marrakesh, mines in Morocco, in seven countries in total. And they have a 2030 strategy to move into what they call a transition strategy. And I'd rather leave it to the executive chairman of Managem, Toomey, to describe them more thoroughly, but a really strong local partner. They have a very supportive local fund, that's their 82% shareholder. So clearly this is is a great partner, and part of their vision is to move into energy and and particularly into gas. What better to do it as your first project at home in Morocco? And this is a strategic project, and Managem recognise that and the value of that to the country. So that's why they're an excellent partner, apart from the fact they've got deep pockets. Breaking the deal down into elements. So we owned 75% of the concession in Morocco through two UK subsidiary companies. One of them owns 55%, the other one owns 20%. So what we're doing to make a nice clean deal is we're selling our local UK subsidiary, Sound Energy Morocco East, which has a branch office down in Morocco. It's an operating arm, it has its accountants, it has some construction people, some safety people, etc. in that company that's managing the operation. So we're selling that company, and in exchange for that, we are getting funding for the equity portion of the project. And if you remember what I said earlier on, let's say the project's 350 million or so. So with our 20%, we need to find the equity portion of that. Now we know the bank has offered us $225 million roughly. So we've got about $100 million of funding to find. So our share of that is about $20 million. That's what Managem's putting in. In fact, they're putting slightly more than that in. In parallel, when they buy Sound Energy Morocco East, they get access to the exploration, and they see the potential. They have a good team, by the way. The head of their geology department is a hydrocarbons geologist as well. So they have a technical team. They have a good projects team. So, whilst we say they're mining, they don't know about oil and gas. They know how to build pipelines. They know how to bark kit. They know to do project management. They know how to drill wells, although we, of course, in the oil and gas world, we think we can do it better. But they're very, very competent guys, and we're making sure we've got a good transition plan and make sure it's a seamless transition. They're going to carry us in 2 wells, and the 2 wells, SBK1 and M5. M5 on an oil concession is a good exploration wildcat well. So high risk, high reward. Yeah, M5 is about a TCF of gas, should it be there. And if it is, it's a completely different game, a new development, possibly also tying into the GME pipeline. On the SBK1, this is essentially a discovery that was made a while ago. So we've got all of the main criteria on the well pretty much ticked off, except for reservoir effective ability to flow the gas. So a well on SBK1, if that's successful, can be turned around really quickly into development, either tie into the processing plant for the pipeline, or could even be a standalone LNG micro LNG project or 2. As we know, we have Africa Gas as our partner, always willing to buy more LNG down in Morocco. So those are, the big bit, of course, is the carry for phase 2, and the big bit, I think what people should realise, we've de-risked this project dramatically by bringing management in as a partner. They have excellent relationships in Morocco, so sorting the bank debt out with the same shareholder in management being also a shareholder in the bank helps. The gas sales agreement, ONE have just had a management change. We all know the new CEO of ONE very well, so I think putting all of them together, having management as a credible partner, having the GSA in place, having the pipeline engineering capability with management in place, getting that all done and the funding from management is good. There's a cash bonus to us once we get some gas. I mean, that will be a nice party when that comes, if I'm still around. But the other bit that keeps Sound Energy going and gives us a springboard to do maybe some other things is we get about $12-13 million of back costs. The effective date of this project or this transaction we're doing with management is January 2022. So you can imagine the money we've spent over the last 2 years, a lot of that, 55% of it, is coming back to us. So that puts us in a position of having solid cash in our pocket, managing our business, and bringing the LNG onto production, bringing the pipeline gas on production. And then, of course, that allows us to sort out all of our debt issues, our debt from the Eurobond, from Africa, etc., all managing out of the cash flow that we're expecting to get from these projects. So, yeah, the combination of back costs, complete carry, so de-risked phase 2 with the pipeline, no extra money needed from our side to pay our equity part, maybe a little bit of a sweetener in cash bonus, and a bit of excitement with the 2 exploration wells.
Yeah, so I mean, that's very, very exciting and a lot going on. What's the timing process for all this work that you're now going to be doing? I mean, obviously we're still doing it, but you're accompanied, you're helped, you're financed, and everything else. So give me a sort of rundown of what your timing is for the next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the same question I'm asked by all my shareholders, and I had 1 or 2 calls over the weekend to try, or emails into us asking the same question. It's going to take us a while to close. There are certain CPs that will take longer than others, but I mean, clearly we want to get this completed sooner rather than later. So I would say 3 months or so to close. In parallel, as I say, I'll be down with management in Morocco in the next week or so, planning and putting together the transition team. And part of that transition team means to reactivate the work we're doing on the feed study to get the pipeline done. It will be working with the ONE on the GSA. We'll be working with the debt financing. Getting the 2 exploration wells going. The rig we have at the moment, the Star Valley 101 rig, it's active. It's worked for other operators recently. We've just taken it on, and it's probably going somewhere else in the near term. But it could actually drill the M5 well, and so we've prepared all of the information on that. So and we're only going to do this obviously once we've closed. But we'll keep managing up to speed on that, and then hopefully get them to consider and develop that or drill that M5 well sooner rather than later. The SBK one needs a bit more work. It can't be drilled with the 101 well because it's a deeper and it requires a horizontal section. So that's either the Deutag rig we have on site, which will need to be reactivated, or another rig from somewhere else, and we've already taken steps to source another rig. So yeah, realistically, could we get a well spudded by the end of the year? I hope so, but certainly early next year. And that's it. Yeah, I mean, crack on. The other stuff that we're doing in our spare moments when we can't sleep. We can't say much about that at the moment, but we're working on some other lines of new business, let's say, for Sound as well.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, two things on that front. I mean, first thing, when you get the money in a few months' time and you're sorted out, you will be in a position to do more. The question would be, obviously, your expertise is obviously in Morocco, but that's Sound's expertise, not your expertise. But I know that so many things come across your desk all the time, and you're always looking to, sensibly expand and so on. And if I may say so, I think that, and this is not just blowing smoke, as they say, but Sound have had a chairman who is so experienced worldwide over the years that you must be seeing some exciting things which would just fit really neatly with Sound. Does this deal, and presumably you have the okay from management and so on, does this deal give you a chance to maybe expand a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, clearly we have shareholders and we have long-suffering shareholders at the retail level, but we also, don't forget, have a very large shareholder who's long-suffering as well and is really focused on getting that share price up. So we are looking at many opportunities, but you're quite right. I mean, my background, it's very easy for us to screen stuff. And we'd be very focused on what we do next. And I think we know the type of activity we would like to do. Clearly, we have technical expertise that we can build on, but we also have the onshore knowledge, etc., gas marketing. That's a sort of a sweet spot I think would like to look at. But I'm not putting off any opportunity to make sense for shareholder value creation. That's what we want to do. That's what we're trying to do. I can't say much at the moment, but we've got a couple of irons in the fire, which I would say other people aren't looking at. That's the deal. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do stuff that the herd's not doing, so that we can actually create value. Because if everybody's in the open process to go buy an asset, prices tend to rise, right? So much better we can do a sweetheart deal with somebody or have a back-to-back with somebody that is good for creating shareholder value.
Exactly. And I imagine that your inbox will suddenly become a little bit busier as a result of this. And management, I mean, certainly doing a little bit of work on management myself, they are, well, people think highly of them in country. The rumor was that they were on this King's Fund, which has been talked about a lot, which you may or may not be able to mention. But it does give you a good springboard for doing something, as you just mentioned, I guess.
But I think, just if I can add, Malcy, I think the key is that the CEO, the executive chairman of management, is a very personable guy. He's very approachable, very professional. I mean, he's a super brain. and but he has a very supportive shareholder, this 82% shareholding fund, Almada, and we've talked about potential opportunities elsewhere together. So yeah, I mean, if we can leverage what we know internationally with their African knowledge and their access to capital is great.
Sounds good. Before I go, because I know how busy you are, I mean, the share price is there and thereabouts a penny. Um, it's what, 30% or 40% off the bottom for the year, but it's still, a fair bit down from historical process. You and I have talked about this a lot, and the market cap of I don't know what is it, about 20 million quid, something like
Yeah.
that. You must consider that this is unrealistically low, given. And I know chief execs, chairman, and so on always say that, and they're always not allowed to, potentially put a value on their own company. But given what's happened and given how things have changed in the last few days, you must consider that market cap of 20 million for Sound is, as I say, unrealistically low.
Well, I mean, we're no different to every other CEO. I mean, and the AIM market in total. People are trading at 30% of NPV. Some people trading below cash. I mean, it's not. We can have a longer discussion about that. What I would say is our broker is about to initiate the first initiation coverage. So give us a day or two to get that out. It was going to come out a little bit a month or two ago, but clearly with this in the wings, we didn't want to spoil the research note. So the first note, we have Zeus and Dan Slater, who's probably one of the top analysts working on it. So give us a day or two, and then we'll come out. But yeah, you know what the story is. We're undervalued. We had a lot of shares trading, I have to say, in the last few days since this announcement's gone out, and we'll see whether we can spring another one on the company. What I was really pleased is how tight we kept it. People hadn't. There was no rumours out there in the market, and I know in the past people were worried that Sound was a leaky ship. Well, I'm clearly making sure that we're not, and we have a company now that I hope this is the springboard for a lot more growth. We've got 2 projects, one underway, hopefully producing gas at the end of the year and sales early next year. Another one that I think we'll take FID with Managem's support. We'll get FID done, and then we're 18 months, 2 years away from the first pipeline gas. We got a couple of exploration wells, both of which are going to be exciting. One which I'm pretty sure is it's got a greater than 50% chance of success, and that's for commercial development. IRRs in the 20% range, that sort of level. So, and if M5 comes in, wow, it's a different game, right? So,
Yeah. Brilliant. It's surprising that the management haven't actually taken a stake in you as well. But listen, I really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are. You're traveling all over the place. I always ask the last question, which is to a certain extent been answered already. But where do you see Sam in 12 to 18 months, Graham?
yeah. Yeah, I'm getting a bit old in the tooth, so well, I'm sure it'll be a different organisation. It's a cash flow generating organisation. It'll be self-funding. It won't have to go to shareholders for money unless it's something material that will need to be funded for. Yeah, I hope our long-suffering, patient shareholders will get their returns that they're looking for.
You're a star. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, Malcy. Great to see you again.
Today I've been talking to Graham Lyon, the executive chairman of Sound Energy, for a CEO interview slot here at Core Finance. I'd like to thank you, Graham, very much indeed for taking time out, having done a real monster of a deal. Very much appreciated. Look forward to seeing you again shortly in the future, and well done on the deal. Thanks very much, and goodbye. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.